present you two of our guests, the local villagers, Madame Xu and her mother-in-law. Dear viewers from CCTV, good morning. I am a villager of Rugao of Jiangsu Province, and this is my mother-in-law. We will pick the vegetables later on. So, Madame Xu and Madame Mo will take us on the journey. In this village, they have a yard. This is a two-story apartment, and we will go to the backyard of this apartment to pick up some vegetables they grow. This must be your daughter? No, actually, my son's daughter. There are so many vegetables grown here. And in the backyard, they have grown many vegetables in the wild. And in the water, we can see the shells. Their meat is very fat and fresh. And also there are some wild vegetables, for example, the Calamaris indica. Mind your steps. Which one is the Calamaris? Now, let's see the Calamaris in our camera. So this is the Calamaris indica. Here it is. Could you please pick one up for a closer look? There you go. This as well. And now we will shoot some frames about the snails in the water. In springtime, people love to eat the snails. Usually in the local customs, they eat the snails for at least 3 times before the Dragon Boat Festival. And I see this gentleman is fishing the snails. In the net, there are a lot of snails picked up. So now you have to put them in this bucket. What is the technique of fishing those snails? You use the iron net and then throw the net into the river, and the snail will be caught. And the sludge will be flushed out through the holes on the iron net. Now you can see this is an oval net, and there are so many iron. Now could you please show us how do you do this? You throw at least 7 to 8 meters far. Yes, indeed. After throwing the net into the river, he bowed down and pulled back this line. But we never know how many snails could be caught in each net. Sometimes they stand in large number, but sometimes nothing. Now I'm screening the sludge off. Are those all wild snails? Yes. How many do you have in this net? Only 3. I guess the snails are shy facing the camera, so they are unwilling to show themselves in the net above the water. He was saying that since he has already fished a full net of snails, so not so much for this one. How do you tell the difference of the snails, the high quality from the low quality? First of all, we look at the size, we look at the color. It's quite clear and clean. They're not dark in color. This means the water is pure. And if the water has high quality, the snail will certainly be delicious. And enjoy your time fishing the snails. And for your information, the snails fished out couldn't be cooked immediately. They have to be dipped in the water for 3 to 4 days until they are fully clean. Later on, we will show you how to cook the snails. Now let's follow Madame Xu to dig the wild vegetables. We've been wondering, why are the villagers digging into the wild vegetables? That's because of the improvement of our ecology. Otherwise, those vegetables growing wildly couldn't be eaten in case of any toxicity. Those are the tune. Please speak to our microphone. You can see we are growing the tune here. They're sprouting after about a dozen of days. They will be mature. And also we can cook the tune with eggs. So this is the tune. According to Madame Xu, it's about sprouting already, so it's not mature. Not until a dozen of days later. So, what about this one? This is the medlar. And we plant the medlar. They're not growing wildly by themselves. How do we pick the medlar? We pick the fresh ones. So today we will pick a lot of vegetables. Sometimes they are growing by themselves in the wild. Sometimes they are planted by the villagers. And they have already prepared some already picked ones. This is the mint, and this is the chrysanthemum nankingens. And how to eat them? You could just make them as salad. Now let's pick some. We grow those. When can we eat the broad beans? After the Dragon Boat Festival. You can also make soup with this vegetable. This is the head of the tune. It will grow for some other time. When it grows out, it will be about 1 unit of length. What is this tree? This is the osmanthus. It will not be in blossoms until August. It looks quite similar to the sprout of the tune. Now let's keep this a secret. Take your guess. What is this vegetable? This is the garlic. Do you plant the garlic? Not really. They're growing in the wild. You could cook the garlic with all the other vegetables. It's very difficult to find them. And what about those? Those are the dandelion. The dandelion could be put in our water. Are those carrots? Yes, the leaves of carrots. And there are different varieties of carrots. What about this one? And over there, that is the leek. Do you plant the leek? And let's show you how to cut off the leek. What is the skill of cutting off the leek? When you cut the root of the leek, days later, the leek will grow up again. So your knife must be very close to the root. And also one detail is you must cover the root with the earth after you cut the leaves off. This is called Yangcao vegetable. You could pickle it, and you could also choose to fry it directly. You must pick the fresh ones. What is the frequency of you picking those vegetables? Very often. And then we feel free to cook with the vegetables. After all, we have a lot of choices in this place. We know how to cook those vegetables. See, this is the mint. We could make tea with the mint and also make dumplings from it. And also you could make pies from the mint. It's very fragrant when you mix it with the flour and fry it over the oil. Are they naturally growing? No, we plant it. We can sell it in the market. How much? 15 RMB yuan for each mint. Is it well sold? Yes. What is the name of this vegetable? Those are the ageratum. It looks quite similar to mint leaves. You have to look very closely. And also the ageratum could also be put in our tea. Those tea could lift your spirit up. Here in front of us, we are walking on the cement road. It's very tidy. How long has it been built? Over 10 years' time. How long have you stayed here in this village? I'm a local and I married here 33 years ago. And also my own family was here in this village. I hear that this village is the result of a combination and integration of two smaller villages. Yes. And here we see some peach trees and flowers. Those are for just sightseeing. And what's this piece of land for? This piece of land is used for growing the clove trees. Even in their own yard, they have planted some clove trees. This must be the carrot leaves, yes. This is the crown daisy. Wait a moment. This is the crown daisy, and now let's see how are those crown daisies picked. You use this small shovel and cut it off. She's speaking the local dialect. She's telling us that this is the crown daisy, and we can use the crown daisy to make the sweet green rice balls. Of course, for the green rice balls, they vary greatly in terms of the ingredients across different regions. What is this plant? It's called the shepherd's purse. Now let's move on. It's a good day today. Over there, that's the celery. What is this? This is called peng. You could fry it and also mix it with the flour and then cook it. You're picking so much. Are you gonna eat them all? We could store them in our refrigerator and just take our time to eat them. So you control the amount you pick. We've been picking a lot in our baskets. We don't want to waste food. Are those beautiful peach flowers? The flowers are blossoming across the whole nation, and those are the peach flowers. They will be fruited. But for the peach trees we saw just now, those are just for sightseeing, so there will be no fruits to be born over there. So that's why you see the branches look different. Those branches are more spread out towards 4 different directions. What is the name of this vegetable? It's called the effing cutweed. You keep telling us that those vegetables taste delicious, so we are eager to have a look at how they are cooked. Now let's get back. What will be the peach to be fruited here over the trees. They're juicy peaches. They will be sold. How many villagers are there? Not many. 3,000. We planted those moss heads. They will flower just like the oilseed grapes. The flower look quite similar to the oilseed grapes. They're very old, so they're blossoming. What is this tree? This is the pear tree, and we can see the buds of the pear flowers. Just now we followed Madame Xu and her mother-in-law to dig some wild vegetables. Most of the vegetables and plants they just cut off are growing themselves naturally in the wild. Some others are planted by the local villagers. For example, they have planted the vegetable called echeritum. This is the grapes, oilseed grapes. They're yellow in color, but for the moss heads, even though the flower is also yellow, the number of the flowers are smaller than the rape seeds. It's a little bit hot today. Those two ladies look quite young, but actually for Madame Mo, she's already 77 years old. But she's wearing all black hair. I asked him, have you dyed your hair? She said no. That's related to the name of this village, the Long Life Village. Speaking of long life, this old lady is 77 years old, but her hair is still black in color, without dyeing. That's why this village is called Long Life Village. What is the secret of long life? We have invited Director Shao from the Publicity Center. Good morning. Hello everyone. Dear viewers, welcome to Rugao of Jiangsu Province. Sorry to interrupt. I am Deputy Director of the Publicity Center of Rugao Municipal Party Committee. My name is Shao Yali. So, could you answer the question? The reason why we are called Long Life Village is because of the proportion of elderly people above 100 years old among the total population. And there are 525 elderly people above 100 years in our village this year. That's above the average level and the criteria of the international community. So what is the secret of long life? In our daily habits, there are some factors, but of course we have to contribute to the climate. We have won the Chinese Environmental Award, and also we have good water condition and fertile soil. We drink water from the Yangtze River, and our soil has seldomly been polluted. Particularly in our soil, we're home to a lot of nutritious minerals. And also we have very good living habits. They are very industrious and hardworking. They work a lot and labor a lot. And they pay attention to what they eat. And they prefer plain food. And they only eat the seasonal food. They eat food that grow naturally in this locality. For example, the wild plants they just picked. And they prefer shrimps and fish. They don't eat the food that are grown artificially by people. And as to grains, we eat all sorts of them. And they prefer fresh food other than those stored in the refrigerators or that has been kept overnight. We are a civilized city. We are called the Smile City and the Loving City. In Rugao City, we highlight the value of respecting the elderly people. Not long ago, our municipal government has introduced many policies of respecting elderly people. We give subsidies and allowances to the elderly people. Those are all measures to protect those elderly people. So now we learned from Madame Shao about the reasons of the long life village. The municipal government put premium on the elderly people. For example, we could see some plates and boards hanged on the wall, and this is called civilized family. It's a 4-star logo. 4-star is the top level here. We have a selection of civilized households starting from the village level, and there will be a nomination, and then the nominees will be then selected at the township level, and then they are sent to the municipal level, and finally the Rugao City's civilization office will make a decision. The civilized families must have good family style and must live harmoniously. Also, this plate is hanged over the wall. That means you will be subjected to the supervision of all the other families in this village. You also have to conduct a self-monitoring as well. Thank you for your information, Madame Shaoyali. Madame Mo is already preparing the vegetables. In many of those local families, our parents are contributing a lot with those daily chores. They will prepare for this lunch. Enjoy your time, and I will enter into the apartment. We could see a whole table of wild vegetables. This is our chef today. For your information, this is Mr. Cai, a senior chef in Rugao City. Could you please say hello to our viewers? Dear viewers of CCTV, good noon. My name is Cai Ping. I am a chef in Rugao City. According to Mr. Cai, he's been cooking here for 49 years. And could you please introduce to us about those plants and vegetables? Some of them have already been introduced just now when they were picking. Let's start from this one. This is the small garlic. It's a specialty. It's different from the usual garlic. In the early spring, the villagers will pickle them, and we wait until summer to cook them. It's very delicious in the summer. What about this? This is ageratum. The ageratum is also a local specialty. We could dip them in the water to make tea, and it will lift our spirit up. We could also make dumplings with the ageratum, together with the sweetened bean pastes. This must be the leek. Yes, leek picked in the early spring is very delicious, particularly cooking the leek together with the local eggs. That is the crown daisy. We will make the rice with the crown daisy. This is the affine cutweed. This is the calamaris. We see a lot of calamaris in many restaurants. This is the medlar leaves. This is the shepherd's purse. We call it 屈才 as well, based on the pronunciation. We cook the dumplings with the shepherd's purse, and this is the tune. To clarify, the tune we just saw outside were grown on the trees, and this plate of tune is bought from the market. That's the carrot leaves. When the carrots are fully mature, the leaves will also be very big in size. This is called yangcao. That's the ageratum tea. It's a little bit hot. Let's show you the color of the tea. It's light green. With our naked eyes, it's quite green. And now let's smell it. It smells like a traditional Chinese medicine, but not very sharp scent. What's the functionality of the ageratum? It lifts up your spirit, and it's good for your eyesight. It can also cool yourself down. This must be healthy, yes, and we can also make dumplings from the ageratum and cook pies with it. Our next work is to cook those food. So now let's enter into the kitchen. That's the crown daisy. She has boiled the crown daisy just then. What is this flour? That's the sticky rice flour. You mix the flour together with the crown daisy. Now please allow me to have a try, and let me wash my hands first. You can also mix them with the peanuts. The crown daisy rice balls are quite popular in this village. We pick up the crown daisy in February and make rice balls with the crown daisy, and we put the dates in so everyone will be happy with the food. Madam, could you teach me how to make these rice balls? You compress it. Could you please move closer to us with the mic? So firstly, I have to press this flour flat, and the shape must be round, and then we put the ingredients in. What's inside? The peanuts, sesame, oil, sugar, and then you rub it into a ball. I see she's turning this ball round and round so as to make it very round. You're doing fairly good for the first time. It will taste more delicious since you're making it. Now let's introduce more. Those rice balls will be steamed on the stove right now. How much time does it take to steam them? 8 minutes. The rice balls seem different from those of other places because of the ingredients. In southern China, there is a saying about eating the rice balls around the Dragon Boat Festival, and usually the rice balls we eat are quite sticky. But I've tasted this rice ball, they're not very sticky. Why? That's because we use the boiling water to boil the rice balls. We use the hot water, not the cold water. That's the spring rolls. We wrap up the spring rolls with shepherd's purse, and also the eggs are inside. How much time does you have to fry the spring rolls? Just a while. When I was young, we've seen a lot of those stoves. But now, in this time, we are changing into the electric stoves. Why are you still using the traditional ones? Because of the elderly people. They're more used to the traditional ones. Speaking of those traditional stoves, let's look at this. According to them, it's already about 50 years old. This is the air bellow. You just pull this stick and there will be very big wind under the stove. Who is this lady? That's my husband's elder sister. And that's my husband's younger sister. There is a local custom. During the festivals, the relatives will get around together to celebrate. So now I see the spring rolls are well done, and let's cook the other vegetables. Do you put all the vegetables inside this one stove? Yes. That's the edgerridum pies. It's well done this morning. Keep a distance from the fire. What is this oil? The bean oil. You can also buy the oil from the market. What's gonna be the first dish? Snail. Okay. Those are the snails just now fished from the river. According to Chef Cai, this snail was from the river, and the tip of the snail is cut off. Why? Because we would love to get it clean. For example, there may be some bugs inside the snails. Then when you eat the snails, your teeth will not suffer from those bugs inside or the sands. Now, this is your kitchen, Mr. Cai. Let's cook a spicy snail. You can tell me the steps. First step, put in the oil. I cook at home, but I've never done this dish. And then you put in the garlic. And the fire has to be tuned down a little bit. And also the pepper, the chili, and then when the odor is coming out, you put in the snails. Let's keep the window open. Then some water. Some soy sauce. Some more. Sugar, white sugar. More chilies. And the broad bean sauce. If you prefer the spicy flavor, you can add more. I'm very busy cooking. You're doing it well. Then wait a moment. More water? It's choking. I put the lid on to boil the snails for a while. The lady is helping me out. There is one detail in cooking the snails. The snails have already been washed and dipped in the water for 3 to 4 days to let out the sludges and the sands. So, the snails we just put in are already boiled, but not to the tipping point. We also cut off the tip of the snails and then boil them in the water. What about the salt? I've never put the salt in. That's the last step. Since we've put a lot of sauce, it's already salty. And the Rugao people don't love salty food, so sometimes we don't put in salt. Have I put too much broad bean sauce? I think it's fairly good. Now, it's about time. Let's taste it. It smells good. You need more sugar. And put in some chicken powder, and then the dish is done. Do you cook so spicy usually? Not really. So I must have put too much bean sauce. And then they will spray some chopped green onions on the top. Have a taste. The rice balls are ready. I'm not a qualified cook. I put too much pepper and chili, so it's very choky. We don't eat so spicy on a daily basis. If you like spicy food, you can put more in, but I think it's too much. Not really. Never mind. What's the next dish? Chef, tune with the eggs. Now you go. Be my guest. I am washing this pot. It's turning black.
我们看这边呢，开始在这个备料了，备料了这个打了这个鸡蛋，跟这个三分头，他们要和在一起，知道吧？
He's stirring the eggs with the tune. Are you gonna make a pie or just fry them? Fry. Salt and pepper powder are already put inside. We don't need the chicken powder when cooking eggs. The lady has washed the pot for at least 3 to 4 times. Keep stirring.
这个眼前这个许大姐呢，也是做饭很多年了啊。然后听说有个大厨在这，她就开
Madam
始
Xu has cooked a lot. You could judge from her moves. Just go with your usual steps. Never mind us. She's now frying the tuna. We have slogans about eating the spring. Take your time. We eat the leek in the early spring, and then the medlar. Around the Dragon Boat Festival, we eat the willow leaves and make dumplings from the vegetables. We have a very special plant called nanle. It's made of barley, the wheat. It's done. We can't cook it too much. According to the chef, there will be pies made of willow trees around the Dragon Boat Festival. So in Rugao, willow trees are not just for sightseeing. As part of the scenery, it's also the source of food. What's the next dish? The calamaris indica. This is why we say there shouldn't be too many chefs in the kitchen. Everyone is an expert in the kitchen. And also in every house there will be the trump dish. In the villages, they cook very delicious meat and garlic. Please allow me to introduce. This is also a specialty. It's said that when Emperor Qianlong paid visit to southern China and passed through Rugao, he ate this cookie and he thought very highly of it. It's a little bit different from the other places. It's composed of 20 pieces in one bundle, and they're smaller in sizes. And smell it. It's made of the dried bean curd, so you could smell the fragrance of the beans. Now let's check the calamaris indica. We will put in the bean curd with the calamaris and some chicken powder, some white sugar. During the traditional spring festival, who is gonna be the chef? Me, of course. The next dish is the Willow Leaf Pie. Since the lady is washing the pot again, Let's show you the willow leaves and branches through our camera. From this angle, let's compare the willow leaves. This branch, for example, is fresh green, so it's edible, but for some other branches, they're yellow in color. Those are not edible. So choose the green leaves, not the yellow ones. Just now, Mr. Chef told me that for the flowering yellow branches, they're not edible. And also, there are different two sexes of the willow trees. How do you cook the willow leaves? We make pies, fried pies with the willow leaves. This is the right season. We fry the willow tree leaves. Only the leaves? Yes. It's very precious food. But more frequently, we will cook the willow leaves to be a pie. The willow leaves are good for our eyes. They can also lift up your spirit. Is everything set? I will have to put in the oil first. Madame Xu is cooking, and she has two helpers. Her husband's sister and also her mother-in-law. They seem to be working in harmony. What do you think of her dishes? Very good. Everyone loves eating her food. Putting some more oil. So this lady is the younger sister of Madame Xu's husband. She's doing the job, and her mother is giving the call. Like, now it's ready. The fire must be well controlled. Otherwise, it may be overcooked if the fire is too strong. It's all out on the plate. You can fold this pie. Madame Mo is cooking herself. So this is the willow leaves pie. Those ladies are discussing while cooking. Maybe every one of them has their own technique. Is it overcooked? We're all waiting for the pie. How many dishes do we have? 2 more. The next dish is to cook the rice with the green onion. So while the ladies are cooking, let's look at the already cooked dishes on the table. Snails, that's a work of mine. I don't know if it's too spicy, but I choked the people in the house. And that's the Ajuritum pies. And this is the spring roll, the rice ball, this is frying calamaris with the broad bean, and also the tune with the eggs. That's the Willow Leaf Pie. So the plan is 8 dishes. We have some requirements for the number of dishes. We will learn the story from another guest about it. We have 2 more dishes to go. The next one is about the fried rice. With the pickled meat and green onions and rice. Pickled meat and green onions are put first. Then the smell comes out. That's the pickled meat. Why not putting the meat first and then the green onions? Because we need to let the smell out from the green onions. Then they throw in the rice. We use the cold rice, not the hot rice. Otherwise it will be sticky. It will adhere to the pot. Do you have to put more oil in? Not really, because the pickled meat has already contained some oil. You spread out the rice so that they get evenly cooked. And I also heard the best rice for fried rice is the rice cooked the night before. Yes, exactly. Their plates are very beautiful. There are characters on the plates called on the tip of our tongue. What's this bowl? We call it the porcelain bowl. There are 3 tools for holding the dishes. This is the earliest one, having the longest history. And the second one is the porcelain bowl, and you can see the holes. And this is the newest one. It's very delicate. We can smell the fragrance of the green onions. We have already 8 dishes. It's enough. Enjoy the lunch with us together. We have another guest. He's the chairman of the local cooking association. Please greet our viewers. Hello, dear viewers from CCTV. Choose the right position. It's a real pleasure to meet you here through this CCTV camera. Today, we have introduced a lot of wild vegetables and dishes cooked by local villagers. And I would love to introduce to you some local customs. We have a lot of requirements and etiquette of eating those food. For example, we say that for one table, there should be 8 dishes. And also, when we invite our guests in, the guest must sit on the opposite of the kitchen. So, by that criteria, this must be the seat of the guest. That's the main seat. Now, since this is a round table, we have different etiquette. The main seat resides in the one on the opposite of the door. So usually, we invite the elderly people to sit in the main seat. So let's take this as an example. If this wall is taken down, and the kitchen is directly linked with this dining hall, then this seat will be the main seat. But now with this wall standing in between, where should the elderly person sit? Right here, because it's a round table. is right next to the door. So that's about the arrangement of the seats. What about the other local customs? We also have a requirement that the children and the ladies will not eat together with the guests. But of course, that's not a discrimination against ladies and children. That's because in the past, in many places, they have poor financial background. They want to reserve the best food for the guests. So they invite the guests to eat first. And in many houses, their table is too small to sit so many people at the same time. So it's not a discrimination. Yes, in the past, we didn't have abundant food. And when we invite the guest to our house for dinner, we will let the guest enjoy the food first. And now many elderly people are living together with the children. When the children are eating on the table, the parents will teach them a lot of customs and courtesy. For example, do not use your chopsticks to knock on the table. That's not the right thing to do. So now we let the children eat together with the adults so as to teach them something. Another part I want to introduce is about the alcohol. Usually we will put the fish on the table and then the alcohol will not be continued. And also we must all wait for the elderly person to sit first and then all the others can take their seats. And it's the same thing with fetching your chopsticks and start eating. And after finishing the dishes, we also have some courtesy. For example, we must allow the elderly person to leave the seat first, and we must help the elderly to pull back their seat, their chair, until they're leaving. Of course, we have different customs across the nation, so please allow me to wrap up the information. Usually, when there is no wall separating the two rooms, then this seat will be the main seat for the elderly person. But sometimes in other cities, this might be the main seat. That's the one difference. Another difference is that we don't continue drinking when the fish is put on the table. It's either alcohol or fish. And another one courtesy is we must invite the elderly person to take their seats first. Otherwise, all the other young people couldn't start eating. So now I learn a lot. How about let's invite the families to enjoy the lunch? Ladies, please come back and enjoy your lunch. So where shall this old nanny sit? Just to help yourself. Help yourself, please. This is almost the end of our show. You have 4 generations living together under the one roof. That's the youngest generation, only 17 months old. Her name is called Yuanman, meaning a complete life. So enjoy your lunch, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time, and thank you our viewers for watching. If you have any opportunity, we welcome you to pay visit to Rugao to taste the spring food. Thank you for watching.